Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my YouTube channels. Introduce, my name is Edi Kurniawan Siregar. I am student at the Padang State University. My major is automotive engineering. Okay, guys. Uh, at this moment, I will explain about the cooling system of the engine cars. Okay guys, a car engine produces a lot of heat when it's running and must be cooled continuously to avoid engine damage. Generally, this is uh, this is done by circulating coolant liquid, usually water mixed with an antifreeze solution through special cooling passage. Some engines are cooled by air flowing or fine cylinder casings. How the coolant circulates. A typical water cooling system with an engine-driven fan, not the bypass hose taking off hot coolant for the heater. The pressure cap on the expansion tank has a spring-load valve which opens above a certain pressure. A water-cooled cooling system. A water-cooled engine block and cylinder head have interconnect coolant channels running through them. At the top of cylinder head, all the channels converge to single outlet, a pump driven by a pulley and belt from the crankshaft drives hot coolant out of the engine to the radiator, which is form of heat exchanger. Unwanted heat is passed from the radiator in the air system, and the cooled liquid then returns to an inlet at the bottom of the block and flows back into the channels again. Usually, the pumps sends coolant up through the engines and down through the radiator, taking advantage of the fact that hot water expands, becomes lighter, and rise above cool water when heated. Its natural tendency is to flow upwards and the pump assists circulation. The radiator is linked to the engine by rubber hose and has a top and bottom tank connected by a core, a bank of many fine tubes. The tube pass through holes in a stack of thin sheet metal pins, so that the core has a very large surface area and can lose heat rapidly to the cooler air passing through it. In older cars, the tubes run vertically, but modern, low-front cars have cross-flow radiator with tubes that run from side to side. In an engine at its ordinary working temperatures, the coolant is only just below normal boiling point. The risk of boiling is avoided by increasing the pressures in the system, which raises the boiling point. The extra pressure is limited by the radiator cap, which is the boiling point. The extra pressure is limited by the radiator cap, which has a pressure valve in it. Excessive pressure open the valves, and coolant flows out through an overflow pipe. In a cooling system of this type, there is a continual slight loss of coolant if the engine runs very hot. The system needs topping up from time to time. Later cars have a sealed system in which any overflow goes into an expansion tank, from which is sucked back in the engine when the remaining liquid cools. Okay, at the next step, how the fan helps. The radiators need a constant flow of air through its, its core to cool it adequately when the car is moving. This happens anyway, but when it is stationary, a fan is used to help the airflow. The fan may be driven by the engine, but unless the engine is working hard, it is not always needed while the car is moving, so the energy used in driving is wasted as fuel. To overcome this, some cars have a vicious coupling and fluid clutch worked by a temperature-sensitive valve that uncouples of the fan until the coolant temperature reaches a set point. Other cars have an electric fan also switched on and off by a temperature sensor. To let the engine warm up quickly, the radiator is closed off by a thermostat, usually set above the pump. The thermostat has a valve worked by a works, chamber filled with wax. When the engine warms up, the wax melts, expands, and push the valve open, allowing coolant to flow through the radiator. When the engine stops and cools, the valve closes again. Water expands when it freezes, and if the water in an engine freezes, it can burst the block or radiator. So antifreeze, usually ethylene glycol, is added to the water to lower its freezing point to safe level. Antifreeze should not be drained each summer. It can normally be left in for 2 or 3 years. Air-cooled engine cooling system. In an air-cooled engine, the block and cylinder head are made with deep fins on the outside. Fins on air-cooled cylinder are wider at the top, where most heat is generated. Horizontally air-cooled engines having cooling ducts to the fin. Horizontal air-cooled engines have cooling ducts to the fins. Air cooling through fins on air-cooled cylinder are wider at the top, where most heat is generated. Horizontal air-cooled engines have cooling ducts to the fins. Water valve heating system. In a heater worked by a water valve, all the air goes through the matrix. The matrix temperature is controlled by regulating the amount of hot water going through it. Frequently, a duct runs all around the fins. An engine-driven fan blows air through the duct to take heat away from the fins. A temperature-sensitive valve controls the amount of air being pushed around by the fan and keeps the temperature constant on cold days. Okay, guys, see you next. See you again in the next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.